Hey guys, OFSREagle here, bringing you a brand new video today. I'm excited to bring you today's video. There's going to be this is going to be a really dense video, and I have a lot to get through, but I'm happy and excited to share it all with you. So, as you can see already, I'm on a very different map, and I don't know if maybe one you've never seen before, but if you don't know, Halo has been really looking to provide some new fresh updates following the World Cup that was just a month or two ago, and I'm really excited that they're looking to kind of change up some things, not only just to make it fresh but make it a little bit more clean, just overall better. And one of the first things that they were looking to do was change some of the HCS settings, and then look into introducing new maps. Right, we've had the same few maps for ever since Halo came out, and Halo 5 came out, and they are now introducing new Forge maps. And there was an article posted on Halo Waypoint, my official HCS, about 2 weeks ago, explaining that they were looking to testing about 10 different maps by different forgers that some competitive and pro players and the developers would run some private custom games to test out and see how things ran and stuff like that. They had different criteria they were looking for, and since then they have really boiled it down to about 2 maps that they are that, from what they've said, they're going to put into rotation. It's not being put into rotation immediately. They're still tweaking a few things, but I'll leave a link in the description of the article, and the article by Halo Waypoint. And the 2 maps are Fissure by -0, and then Echelon, I think is what it's called, by Squally de Beans, which is the one I'm on now. And I actually went, Strong Side was the one hosting these kind of testing games that anyone I think was invited, but it was kind of specifically for competitive players. One of the things was that I actually went and into the Strong Side's bookmarks, and I found the maps that they said they were considering, and I did 1v1s on all of them just to get a feel for it. And there was a few I liked, few I didn't. This one in Fissure, I do think are really cool, really fresh, and it was just announced on the 11th that these 2, and this one specifically, Echelon, is going to be in the rotation. So what I wanted to do is I took some time already by myself. Once they said these are the 2 maps we're putting in, we're still going to tweak them, just like spawn locations, weapon placement, stuff like that, what game types. But the map itself is this is here to stay. So once that was said, I decided I'm immediately going to go in and I'm going to find the jump spots for you guys. So, but first off, I wanted to kind of quickly go over what's going on. So today we're focusing on this map, Echelon, but in terms of the HCS settings that are changing, they aren't changing too much, except 2 very important things. Is they're removing ground pound and Spartan charge. And you still have sprint, you still have thrust, still have slide, you still have the stabilize. You just won't have ground pound and stabilize, and or ground pound and Spartan charge. So one of the things that I wanted to point out was that they officially said in the article, like I said, it's in the link in the description, is that they are officially removing ground pound HCS. So with this, I turned off my ground pound and Spartan charge, and so that, because I personally, you guys know that ground pound and Spartan charge can be key to movement. It can be abused in just actual competitive play, but in terms of movement, I like them because it allows you, basically, the Spartan charge can allow you a second thrust around a corner, and the ground pound, if you mess up a jump, it'll allow you to maybe float and regain your thrust, stuff like that. So, but they officially announced that in HCS tournament play they are removing ground pound Spartan charge. So now we're gonna have to get used to Halo 5 without it, just for HCS settings. So, but for this specifically, I went and I took about 2 hours to go through and see what I could find, and I have a lot to show you. And when I was watching the pros play, I bookmarked the film and was watching it. You could tell that they still themselves, this is new to everyone. So there's, I'm sure, a lot to be explored, which I'm excited about. As a skill jump guy, we're all very excited about the new possibilities. So I wanted to kind of, jump, kind of get ahead and really try to search out what I could find. And I think I found some cool ones. And again, I don't know how it will. These are just jumps themselves. It's nothing in how it impacts gameplay and like objective based. So that time will tell to see. Maybe their different needs will arise. Different jumps may become like just unusable because of the objectives in the game. Also, I will preface this. This is not the final word on this map. This is just my findings, and I may assume things are impossible when they may be possible later on with some more like exploring. I did go into Forge, and I went into Forge with this map to verify that there are certain things that are impossible. Like, for example, we'll come over here. I don't know the names at all of these things. But for example, like in here, you can't sit in here. There are invisible barriers that will not allow you to allow your Spartan to be in there. So there will be a few things where I say like, oh, that's just impossible. But so let's go ahead and get started. Also, if you don't know where to find these maps, I think you can probably go to like Strong Side. Literally go to. Or even you can go to Strong Side's Halo Waypoint, or on Xbox, look up his gamer tag and you can bookmark those game files. If not, you can even go to just custom search in content browser and look up the authors of the maps. Again, they're listed in that article, and then you can like save the most recent one by that author. Not like, oh, it's the same map title, but not it's the owners are different. That means they might have changed something that isn't official. So that way you can get your hands on it and play around a bit. So I'm just going to show you some things that I found. This is a very intuitive map. I know I'm going to be speaking very fast, and it's gonna be a lot of info really quickly, but this is a very intuitive map. You can see when things are like this is how it's supposed to flow. For example, going up from this to this, you can tell it clamber. Let's see here. There's the most blatant one is probably this. Over here, again, I don't know the names, but you can see that through this like little low catwalk area, there's this little platform that you're able to then jump, and then it's kind of geared for you to go up here, right? That's kind of the design. So you can tell there's an obvious flow to things. So I went and I took some time. I also watched, like I said, that gameplay just to see maybe there was like, ooh, I wonder if like you can tell they were wanting to go somewhere, but just didn't. It's a brand new map. They didn't know what to do. So I went and kind of like specifically search out a few things. So the first thing I'm going to show is this was my first find actually, is right here. Because this is a Forge map, virtually everything is interactable. So unlike like Plaza, where there's these on Plaza, but you can sometimes fall through them because they're just a developer like aesthetic, these are actually clamberable. So what I found is with a spring jump, you can hit it, and it allows you to go through this. And I was also looking at the map overall to see what is a necessity and what is just convenient. So this is a high value area. Camel spawns here. Again, this may change in future iterations of this map. I don't know. That's solely up to them. But you can see that there's this perch, and I saw Strong Side try to go do something like this, and you obviously you can stabilize it, stuff like that. So you can do something like this, right? And then you can get up to here. But I'm going to show you what I found really specific. This will probably be utilized a lot in competitive play. So is you can do a stabilize up to here from this door. So that will be very valuable in I'm sure tournament gameplay, if I could speak. So just because, you know, you may be getting shot. I don't know. I have no clue as to what the situations might be, but I'm just seeing what is possible. So, and once you're up here, this really is really important. You know, this, I could see this being really valuable for getting to camo. And not only that, let's say in a gunfight you want to escape quickly, and you have the options to go up there. You can double back, something like that. I don't know, and you can also escape over here, which I think this right here will be a very utilized mechanic or spot, whether it be through a normal spring jump or something. But I mean, just these options. So again, this is me just kind of laying all out what I've seen and what I found for it to be, hopefully useful to you guys. Again, this is the beginning of something really cool. So hopefully, what I find here, I mean, again, this being just so new, I'm pretty sure I'm hopefully one of the first or the first to kind of do this. I looked into this, that being a thing. I don't think it is, simply because of the space between the light post and the stairwell doesn't seem to facilitate a possibility to sit up there. Another thing was that I was watching in the gameplay a lot of players like Penguin. It was Penguin, Snipe Down, Hoax Factor, Musa. I mean, there was a lot strong side. So they were going for camo. There would be a lot of fights up here, right? And it's a very visible thing. So it has a lot of angles on it. So what I found, you have to be a lot more careful when burning your thrust. But there's this little perch under here that is just kind of there, and I tried seeing if it was possible to like somehow do like a spring jump up from there to camel spawn. It doesn't seem to be possible at all. I could be wrong, but as it stands right now, I don't think it's possible. But what this does allow is once you grab it, you can then come and sit down here, and then you can even double back. So it might look something like this, and that's if camo stays up here. But once you grab it, you can come back here, and you're already in the shadows and pretty well hidden. And then you have a few options. So that's something that I found to be intriguing, and that might also be something utilized later on. Okay, so this pelican here, it's very much clamberable. I tried testing like different like ramp options for things, and they're possible. But the next thing I asked in my brain was, is it needed? Can I achieve the same goal by doing something just very basic like that? And yeah, so I didn't really focus on skill jumps that are just an alternate way to do something. I'm trying to focus on ones that are like pretty like necessary. So again, I recommend going into like custom game and just playing around on this map. It will take a lot of time to get a good awareness of the boundaries and going out of map and stuff like that. But this is all a solid object. Doesn't seem like you can glitch in any way. Again, I could be wrong. But what I did find is, so for example, my first thought was being down here, and if I want to get to a high ground, seems my only options are something like this, and then maybe navigating up there, or navigating up here, or something to that effect. So I played around with it, and you are able to hit a thrust bump into, I don't know, the back of the pelican. But there again, I don't know if this will change in the future. It doesn't seem that the ground is very even, because when I go and sprint and thrust, there it was even, right? I just kind of thrust it forward. But notice when I sprint and thrust, I'll hop up a bit. So there's imperfections in the ground, so it actually may get in the way of this. Hopefully it'll get changed later on. Anyway, so you have to start pretty far back in order for it to work. So it'll look something like this, and you're able to clamber this, and then you can jump to the side and get up there. So I thought that might be useful. Getting up here seems to be, I saw a lot of gunfights and engagements happen right here, because this is blue spawn, if I recall right, yes. So there was a lot of engagements up here. So my first thought was, okay, how can we get up there without a clamber? And what I found is, once I saw these rails, I thought about kneecapping, very similar to the rig, where you kind of thrust slide into a rail and then press jump at the right time and it'll launch you up high. the same thing kind of applies for this. I also was trying to do it without utilizing the thrust, which is possible. So when done correctly, you can sprint, slide, and then jump, and you'll be able to land up there without having to clamber. Also, I didn't point out, in Forge mode, if you do this in Forge mode, you'll see that there are actually invisible blockers, so that the hard objects aren't the, I don't know, the railings itself. Your Spartan interacts with just invisible blockers that are the height of this. They're a little bit thicker, so that's actually what you're clipping off of, not the rail itself, like that. So so that's definitely possible. With practice, it will be very, I'm sure, used and utilized. I just hit it there. It doesn't lead to a clamber. Another thing with this area right here that I think is really valuable, just from what I can see right now, is you're actually able to sit right in here and then clamber back up. So it might be useful when just hiding. I don't know how it will be implemented, but I know it's something. You're just kind of floating right there. Just so I can clarify, these are all blocked off. The sides are blocked off. Impossible to stand up there. Camo right up here. I thought about maybe trying to stand up here in some way, shape, or form. Doing something like this. You will kind of glitch and kind of hit something, but when I went to Forge, they're completely blocked off. You can tell they're really trying to. They don't want this to be movement or skill jumps to be abused to a bad degree. I believe the last thing in this area that I found was that to get to camo from here, I saw a lot of people just kind of running up there, but what you can do is, again, these aren't like completely brand new ideas, but you can just time your thrusts and jumps just right. So again, there's something that might be utilized in the future, just something like that. The next area I'm going to focus on is this, right in here. This little engine area, right, sits in here, and it connects out here, and then you have this under catwalk area, right? So my first thing was that I saw, especially because they were doing strongholds, this was a high traffic area as well, because the strongholds are right here. So navigating this can be very important. So what I found, just through exploring, is you're able to do something like this. Again, that's not as necessary, or it's not really a big asset, because just navigating up here is pretty quick. It doesn't take a lot of time or anything like that. For this area, I did find some cool things though. Specifically in here, you can see a lot of railings and stuff is really important. Kneecapping this, to get from here to actually at the top of those pipes is actually very possible, like that. You can do it on either side. To take a shortcut like that, I'm sure would be very useful in game. We'll have to see how it plays out. Yeah, like that. This whole area up here is blocked off. Like, there is really no out of map glitches. Obviously, he took the author took careful attention. No getting up in there, no getting over there at all. He took careful attention to make sure nothing could be abused. Right. So with this area, you're gonna have to be a lot more creative now when doing jumps and things. It isn't as much kind of finding an exploit to go out of boundaries. It's just utilizing these boundaries a lot more creatively, I think. For one example, what I found is, again, you can't go out of map. So my first instinct when I first went in was to try to see as many, like, can I sit here and do this, do that? It really is pretty plain and simple, but you can still use jumps to facilitate a strategic edge. But once I realized something with the weapons that are right now in the rotation, the grenade launcher and the sniper, I launched very high. And sure, I may be a sitting duck, but if I have the snipe, let's just say, okay, you can, that I know is a very popular spawning location, or even for strongholds. I don't think the sniper would be in strongholds. I don't know. Again, things are still not in concrete, but that to me it can be really, really useful there. What I did find was with this, you can do a spring jump glitch right here and sit nicely on top of it. It is still very delicate, so you gotta place it just right. Make sure momentum isn't too much, but yeah. So there was a lot of gunfights that I saw in the gameplay that I was watching that was occurring up here, right? There was a lot of like people coming up the lift or by sniper or up through here. You had a lot of gunfights. I remember seeing Hoaxer was weak, and he was literally kind of looking around somewhere to go. And what I realized, you can jump back and then kind of thrust down, and you end up, it's called, I guess, basement. I think the biggest thing that I wanted to point out was this right here, right? So you have this like this little pedestal near the basement that you can tell is definitely designed to get you up here. When you stand on it and look, you actually can't at first glance get up to I don't know what that's called, up there, but you can actually sprint, hold crouch, jump, and clamber right here. I wonder if there's possibly a way to do a kneecap off of that so you can hit that without clamber, because I can see that being a really nerdy quote-unquote jump spot, because this will be, when you need to like dodge and live for a split, a little bit, when you're in a gunfight, this could definitely be a lifesaver. So learning how to utilize that, just being gunfight up here, and then I don't know, something like this. There's a lot is still yet to be found out. But what I did find with this is if you line up this little pole right here with this wall, and you do a full sprint, thrust, and you do the thrust, slide, and jump, right? Basically a kneecap. It's very specific. You can actually hit it to where you land up there without clambering, like that. So, and then you can immediately jump off the map. I was actually surprised watching the gameplay. The amount of suicides was just insane, just because the awareness isn't there yet, because people don't know, how the map works yet. So as you can see, it's definitely possible to just kneecap this without clamber, which I think will be really valuable. Another thing I did want to show you is this being a nade spot. So you can see that there's this like little turbine area you gotta navigate through, and I don't know if this would be an ambush point. So what you might be able to do, I completely messed that up, is just like that. You throw a nade, and let's say if they're waiting up there, I don't know. That's just something I found, maybe doing it on all four corners. So it is possible to get a kneecap off of this rail and hit that right there. I don't think it would be useful, but yeah. So I want to just make this video for you guys so I could kind of share my initial findings. Again, I'm sure over time things will change and be modified. I don't know what's, the maps are permanent. But, and as you can see, Eiselkinder there, it is completely impossible to go up there because there are invisible blockers. So, going into Forge mode, I suggest doing that so you can see, like, what's definitely not possible with that iteration of the map and what is. But, so yeah, so hopefully that was useful to you guys. I'm excited, and then in my next video, I'll be going over Fissure by -0 and seeing what we can find there. So if you liked what you saw, please be sure to like and subscribe. I'm very excited to continue putting out awesome content like this for you guys, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.